Greetings and welcome to our daily Devo for Wednesday, the 16th of August. Today, we are going to be taking a trip to the temple today with Jesus and his parents, I guess, although they seem to lose track of him on this trip. And we will find him at the temple, astounding the teachers, the leaders, the religious leaders of Israel with his insights. It's called Jesus Pursues Understanding at the Temple, and the passage is Luke chapter 2, verses 40 through 52. And the quote that they have here is from verse 9, when his parents they come back and find him, and he says to them, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" I don't know if we've ever said that before ourselves, have we? I had to be in my Father's house. The point of this devotion, according to our author anyway, is that Jesus had to be at the temple in Jerusalem in order to grow in wisdom. That's what we'll be told after this, is kind of a summary statement from Matthew, that Jesus grew in stature and wisdom with God and man. This story is unique, our author says. It is the only story that we have from Jesus' youth. It is the first story in which we hear Jesus speak. And it is the first story in which we find Jesus insist that he must be in a specific location. So what is it about? Luke signals that this story is about Jesus' pursuit of wisdom in two ways. First, he brackets the story with the idea of Jesus' intellectual growth. Jesus was filled with wisdom, Luke 2:40, and Jesus grew in wisdom in verse 52. When we examine the verses in between these bookends, we find the language of learning. Jesus was sitting among the teachers, listening and asking them questions, verse 46. It is a story about understanding, verses 47 and 50, answers, verse 47, searching, verses 48 and 49, and knowing, verse 49. Because this story is saturated with educational terms, we can safely conclude it is a story about Jesus' education. And that is why the story is set in the temple courts. When Mary and Joseph upbraid Jesus for remaining, we might use the word scold, scold Jesus for remaining behind at the temple, he asserted the necessity of being where he was. To understand that, we need to understand the tiers within Israel's education system in Jesus' day. It began in the home, where Jesus learned the basics from Mary and Joseph. Questions that could not be answered at home were directed to the rabbi at the synagogue in Nazareth. But what about those questions that no one in Nazareth could answer? This is where the temple comes in. The temple in Jerusalem was not just a place of worship, but a place of higher education where the senior scholars lectured. Jesus had to be there, verse 49, because it was the only place where the questions unanswered in Nazareth could find answers. This story of Jesus' education confronts us with the mystery of Jesus, the God-man. As true God, he knew everything, but as a mortal, he needed to journey through the process of self-discovery and learning known to each of us. He had to journey through the process of self-discovery and learning known to each of us. Jesus could not merely simulate the human experience. He had to be authentically mortal, engaging the full range of the human experience. to be our redeeming substitute. The fact that he grew in wisdom signals that Jesus is that person. I do appreciate that passage. I don't know why we're limited in our knowledge of Jesus as a young boy, from baby to 12 to ministry at the age of 30. That's all that's covered. But why pick this out? Well, because of his passion for knowing the truth that was there, the truth of God, the truth of learning, the truth of understanding, the truth of knowledge. All of those things, he pursued them. And wouldn't it be great if more and more young people, under the tutelage of their parents, would say, I need to be in the house of God. I need to go someplace where I can have more questions answered. What a passion. As a human being, yes, he's God. Yes, in that state, there's not a thing he doesn't know. But he comes as a human also. And again, he represents us. So that when he goes to the cross and he's lived through these kinds of experiences, this growth in the home with mom and dad, this growth at the local synagogue with the religious people there, his growth in hungering to know more, and heading over to the temple where he engages these older men with questions and insights, and they marvel at him. They marvel at him. But even his parents kind of missed it, didn't they? And sometimes we as parents do that. I had to be here. There are questions I had that I wasn't getting answers for anyplace else. What a great example. Did his parents make him hungry to know more? I would like to think so. I would like to think that godly parents help to create more of a hunger in their children to know God, know who he is, how to walk with him, how to have a relationship with him. That's what was going on with Jesus. And if it was going on with Jesus, it should obviously be going on with us. Blessings to you today.